Automatic status updates are among the most popular features we offer within Simple and Out, which are amazing because they can automatically update your status when you come and go just from regular office space. It's pretty incredible. And today, what we're going to focus on, though, is what happens if you turn these features on and they're not working exactly as expected. There are a number of things you could do to troubleshoot any of your automatic status updates that may or may not be working. And this is a great video for your regular users as well as for administrators because you both have a role to play in making sure geofences, beacons, and networks are all working really well for you. So we're going to start right here in the Simple and Out app for phone. In this case, I'm on my iPhone. And you can see I have a geofence enabled already. But the very first thing to do for your regular users, any user who has Simple and Out's automatic status updates activated, is to check out the troubleshooting screen. So right here, I'm in my settings screen for automatic updates, and I'm going to tap on troubleshooting. Now, what the troubleshooting screen does in Simple and Out is it's going to look at all of the permissions that we can see as well as it's going to recommend the permissions we can't check by default and try to give you some good suggestions for things you can and cannot do. As you can see right up here, we're going to say anything that requires attention right up here. I don't have anything here, but if, for example, you removed our ability to run in the background or you took away the permission to see location, those things would be required right at the top in red to let you know these things are currently misconfigured and automatic status updates will not work until you've resolved those misconfiguration problems. We also have a section in here for potential conflicts. These are things that we either cannot necessarily check or things that we can understand, but we don't know whether or not you've configured them correctly or not. So as you can see in here, things like cellular access. Without cellular access, the moment you leave, for example, a geofence or a network, you're without any network access whatsoever. And of course, we can't perform status updates on your behalf. Likewise, we also have things like Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi makes geofences infinitely more accurate. So we say you should make sure your Wi-Fi is on 24/7. And of course, without Wi-Fi, networks will not work. You'll notice we have a Bluetooth one down below too. If you're using beacons, you have to have Bluetooth on. That's just something that has to happen. Also, you'll notice in potential conflicts, we list active time. We have a completely separate video on active time. Active time is a great feature in Simple and Out that allows you to choose when automatic status updates work or not. If you have active time enabled, in this case I do, it's going to show up as potential conflicts because one of the reasons why your geofence beacon or network might not be working is because you may be getting to the office outside of your active time window. And then by default, active time will stop it from working. That is what it is designed to do. So this may indicate to you you may wish to turn off active time just to see if that solves your issues. And if it does, your active time settings probably need some tweaking. So the troubleshooting screen, the very first place to start when you're looking for why didn't my geofences, beacons, or networks behave the way I thought? Now, as an administrator, though, we have a few other things we could do in order to try to make sure that these things work correctly. So let's go ahead and pick on geofences here first. And as you can see, I have a bunch of geofences here. Now, if I go ahead and tap on any one of these geofences, as an administrator, I can edit the geofence. And geofences specifically, the larger they are, the more accurate they become. And that's due to the low power nature of geofence technology. We piggyback off of things your phone is doing all day and every day. Things like looking for nearby cell phone towers, just in case you receive a phone call, or looking for nearby Wi-Fi hotspots so that your phone can upgrade its internet access. And those are things that happen all day, every day on your phone. We utilize that in order to make geofences incredibly battery efficient and incredibly easy to use. But that comes at the cost of geofences need to be large in order for them to be very accurate. Small geofences tend to be less accurate, and that's just due to the low power nature of that technology. So as an administrator, if I click edit here, I'm going to tap to edit this geofence. The best thing you could do is to make the geofence larger. Again, larger geofences are more accurate. So if you are an administrator, make the geofence larger. Make it much larger. In fact, I would argue to make it larger and then make it larger still until you receive false positives, until you have situations where you're saying, hey, I checked in, but I wasn't really going to the office. Until you're seeing those, keep making them larger because the larger they are, the more accurate they're going to become. So as an administrator, this is one of the things we absolutely recommend. In fact, if you make your geofence too small, you'll even receive a warning that larger geofences are more reliable, as you can see right here. So make your geofences big. Now, another thing, let's talk about, if I go back out here, beacons. Both beacons and networks, if you go into these screens, have a search for beacon or search for network button. And so if you're troubleshooting beacons or networks, a lot of times what you need to know is, can my phone see this invisible signal? Because obviously, in the case of both beacons and networks, if your phone can see the signal, that will be the thing that checks you in. And if you can't see the signal, that'll be the thing that checks you out. And because these signals are in the air and they're floating and they're invisible, we have built that into our beacons and networking screens so that you can test to see whether or not you can see the signal at that moment. So right now, if I'm like, hey, I have that beacon plugged in, but can I actually see the beacon signal from here? I can click this button. Simple and Out will search for that particular beacon signal. In this case, it's East Office. It'll look for this signal in the air and see if it can see it or not. And that can be, of course, very useful as an administrator when you're looking at positioning hardware. So maybe in this case, I was unable to detect the beacon. I'm not in a physical location where I can see this beacon signal. Maybe that's a good indication I need more beacons in order to get better coverage in this particular part of the office. The same thing is true with networks. Maybe we need another Wi-Fi repeater over here because the signal over here is weak, and we want to make sure people aren't checking in and out throughout the course of the day, even though they're still physically at their desk. And so those are troubleshooting steps you could use as an administrator in order to make certain that things are configured correctly. Now, the final thing I want to talk about, I already mentioned active time, but I really want to touch on this again. If you are using active time and your geofences, beacons, or networks are not working the way you would expect, the very first piece of advice I would give you is to turn active time off and see if that solves the issue. Because again, active time windows are windows where this will work or not. So if you have your active time set up, so for example, it says, hey, I'm only ever active from 9 to 5. I want it from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you show up at 8:55 in the morning, your geofence will not work. That is by design. You've told us you don't want geofences to ever update your status before 9 a.m. So as you can see, active time, while it's a great feature, it's a powerful feature and a feature we're happy to have in Simple and Out. But you have to be able to understand how it works and give us buffer on both ends so that if you do show up, 20 minutes early for work, you want to make sure you get checked in. In this case, you can see I have mine configured for like 6 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. I've given myself plenty of buffer on both ends so that if I do show up an hour early for work because I have something going on, I've got to work on a presentation, I need to be at the office early, I still want that geofence checking me in. And likewise, if I stay around late, maybe I'm talking to a coworker and we're chatting about something in the parking lot and I don't get out of the office when I think, I still want to get checked out. So buffer times on active time or by disabling active time entirely might be in your best interest, again, troubleshooting geofences, beacons, and networks. So those are some ideas to think about when it comes down to utilizing automatic status updates within Simple and Out. It is among our most popular features, and using these troubleshooting steps, you'll get them working great for you.